I know that various staff across Microsoft, Xbox, and various Xbox game studios do watch my videos. And I think it's important that in this very particular moment, I call that out because this is a message of sorts. I will be talking more directly to them than the audience, as I usually do in 99.9% of my videos. So let's get into it. What's happening with Halo Infinite is a goddamn embarrassment and can go on no longer. There needs to be a serious discussion and reassessment of what's happening with 343 and their inability to get anything out for Halo Infinite. There needs to be a real top to bottom analysis on if this team is cut out for it any longer. And I understand it is taboo in today's industry to call for jobs, to call for accountability, to call for we need to do better. I know we're in this day and age where everyone needs a pat on the back 24/7. I don't co-sign to that mentality, but I certainly try to be nice. I try to be polite in my coverage. Sorry, polite Matty, gone. We need to have a very direct chat about what's going on with Halo Infinite. So for those who aren't caught up on the news, this all spawned through the latest roadmap update for 343's Halo Infinite. It's there that we learned in November there will be a winter update with the Forge beta, campaign network co-op, and mission replay, a 30-tier battle pass for free, and 2 brand new maps alongside a bunch of other BS modes and events. It's not until March 7th of next year that will go into June 27th, halfway into the year, that Halo Infinite's Season 3 will begin and end with some new maps for arena and big team battle, 1 new weapon, 1 new piece of equipment, a 100-tier battle pass, and a couple of things like in-game browsers, in-game reporting of players, a new fracture event, some quality of life improvements. I don't care if you are a middling live service game, you're probably doing more than what Halo Infinite's doing, and that's a shame. Let's start off at the top here. You are the flagship IP for Xbox, like it or not. This probably isn't news to any of you. But it is a travesty what you're doing to the franchise. I look at Nintendo for all I critique them for and how they treat Zelda, and outside of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which wasn't a bad set of ports, they just didn't do much with them. It was kind of a missed opportunity, but at least it worked, which 343's Master Chief Collection at first did not. But I look at what Nintendo's done with their flagship IP, how they're treating Breath of the Wild 2. Take your time. Take as long as you need. Let's stop the entire games industry with this game. That type of energy. I look at how PlayStation treats the likes of Uncharted, how they treat marquee games like God of War, close to the vest, really secretive. Let's give them all the time they need. Spider-Man, give them all the time they need. Let these masterminds cook. And then we got Xbox out here playing this type of 2013 level game of rushing Halo Infinite out the door in the holiday window to capitalize on the anniversary bucks and literally signing a fucking death sentence to this franchise that they didn't know that they were doing. Because when you look at it when it first started, and I'll take my petty victory lap, I said for months ahead of this game's launch, please delay this game if you need to. It doesn't feel too encouraging when you're not showing campaign stuff. It doesn't feel encouraging when we're this close to launch and you're not showing a lot of content. Eventually they do the opposite, the early release, giving you the utmost confidence this game has to be ready if you are silly enough to launch it a month ahead of your anticipated release date. And there wasn't content ready to go, just signifying long-term to fans, this was a moment for us to capitalize, cash in on this franchise, and move on. And that's a goddamn disgrace. Halo is the franchise you put on the front of your original Xbox, your 360, your Xbox One, and your Series X. You have the gall to do that to the franchise. That blows my fucking mind. So, like I said, this roadmap was the start of it all. Just seeing the barren level of content was embarrassing. But then it gets worse with canceled features and delays. 343 hasn't landed on an announced release date in God knows how long. They've delayed literally everything from features in Halo Infinite to official launches to this game being in development forever to features coming to Halo 5 late. It has been a travesty how this ship has been run. And it gets worse. In order to improve and accelerate ongoing live service development and to better address player feedback and quality of life updates, we have reallocated studio resources and are no longer working on local campaign split screen co-op. I'm not going to sit here and fake to anyone that this part has me outraged. I'm not going to act like I'm in the 5% still playing local split screen co-op. Here's why the anger is still justified from those fans, though. Because the reality is that 343 has made a habit of promises and taking clear advantage of goodwills. It's also taboo in today's industry to get kind of pissed off about delay. It's got to be the best product ever, right? That's the energy I was showing earlier. If we actually delivered on that, that's where the goodwill is earned. Thank you for holding back and giving us the best possible product. You delivered on that. And then they just continue to fail to deliver. That goodwill disappears in a flash. And especially when the broken promises date back half a decade ago, 5 years ago. Here's the promise that was made. Halo's next FPS will have split screen, unlike Halo 5, which was eventually added to the game. When Halo 5 didn't have split screen, Phil Spencer cited what I think is absolutely a fact, saying a vast majority of people are playing them on Xbox Live together. But here is the catch with that. You go back to the actual winter update, and Halo's co-op campaign online was supposed to drop this month, and it's coming out in November now. They could not hit a release date if they tried. And this is where we roll into the much broader conversation. Can 343 handle the franchise? It is considered unacceptable in today's day and age to call for jobs. But for me, I come from a bit of a sports background. So when the team's not performing, I look at the head coach. I look at the talent on the team. I assess that and I think, okay, it's probably time to shake things up. I look at the GM if moves aren't being made. When incompetence takes root, it's time to strip that out and retool and find a solution. You cannot let a team toil and mess around and goof off with your flagship IP for almost a decade. We're talking a fucking generation and then some of 343 trying to figure it out, of giving them the long leash. Microsoft, I compliment your genuine patience on the matter, but there's got to be someone else on the table. There has to be. This cannot be your only solution because it's just not working. That's the thing. It's not working. We see flashes of potential in cool moments in Halo 4's story, and to a lesser extent, Halo 5's multiplayer. We see cool moments in Halo Infinite's open campaign, but they just can't deliver. They cannot stick the landing, which is all they ever talk about. Delay, core pillar 0, 343, preserve the team health, stick the landing, but they don't stick landings because they never friggin' land on time. They're a constant delayed flight, and it's infuriating as a fan. And I'm just done with this mentality that when companies continuously underdeliver and lie to you, that we just got to sit there and go, do that Miyamoto quote, it's okay. A bad game is forever bad, but a delayed game can be good. I'm done with that mentality. We delay everything, that's good, but you got to deliver on your promise too. That doesn't mean everything delayed has to be phenomenal, but that means when you delay something and you announce your plans on where you want to stick a landing, like when you initially delayed co-op campaign and then have now delayed it again, that's where the goodwill runs out. That's where the impatience runs out. And I'm all team delay, but the game itself, I'm talking core game, should have been long delayed. Now it's too late, and now they're just mismanaging the whole thing. And you're talking about allocating resources. I'm sorry. Are we still talking about an Xbox first party studio working on your biggest franchise as of this moment in time until I think Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield rolls around and takes over that job for you? Are we still talking about Halo? Resources? I'm sorry, but Microsoft, if you knew what this franchise meant to people, you would have poured everything into making sure it was right. And that's where I think that falls on them. There should not be a reallocating of any resources within 343. When you have them, and by the way, you may have forgot because many people have slept on them, Certain Affinity, bringing them in to do the reported Halo Battle Royale mode, which sounds like a DOA, quite honestly, at this point in the life cycle. Who's still really jiving for Battle Royale that isn't Fortnite? I don't know. Someone can correct me down in the comments. I think Rumbleverse looks kind of cool, but it's like a totally different thing. It's wrestling. So look, I'm not trying to sit here and be Mr. Outraged YouTuber. I think most of these YouTubers fake it for views, for attention. They want to be a part of the fun, and it comes across disingenuous, and it sucks. So I'm trying to make sure I convey my just absolutely authentic emotions here, which does involve a bit of foul mouthery and does involve me just laying it out how it is, which is it's time to assess the situation at 343 and ask if they should go and work on something else. This is not acceptable in any other pocket of the industry. Whenever any IP was mismanaged in any single instance, someone else got their hands on it. You did not continue to spiral the series into the ground and say, maybe this time, someone's got to start replacing some head positions. Someone's got to take a look at where they're going in the future, and whatever roadmap they do for their next game better not include Halo, because my confidence will be low. That'll give them a chance to impress, but that's not what you want. Let them clear out, because we got to go all the way back in time now to even Halo Master Chief Collection. They've been missing the mark since then in 2014. Okay? 2014, we've been giving them chances to fix things, figure things out. All different kinds of leadership have come into the building. There's a reality here that Halo has not jived with this studio. Just because you gave them the 343 moniker doesn't mean we got to force this thing, this square block, into a circle hole. We got to figure something out, and figure it out quick, because the constant telling you one thing, doing another, whether it be 5 years ago or a couple of months ago, the missed dates, the poor amount of live service content here, the embarrassment done by the competition, the embarrassment to yourselves with your flagship IP, it is literally unacceptable. There is no wiggle room around it. We are at this stage now where fans are out of patience, and they have had a lot of it. Halo Infinite, as many people will forget, was in development for a while, and it's got a little bit of that BioWare stink on it, right? And that's the perfect connection for what's happening here at 343. BioWare was put onto Anthem because EA was about the live service genre. They gave BioWare all the time in the world, 7 years to figure out Anthem. It just didn't work out. We know the end result of Anthem. And then you know what EA did? They realized, oh, hey, you're like a single player RPG studio, aren't you? Oh, okay, go work on Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Go work on Dragon Age. And we've heard nothing but good things about BioWare since then. Because certain studios are built up with a culture of, in the case of BioWare, RPGs, and 343 definitely has some first-person shooting chops. I just don't think they have Halo chops. I don't anymore. I can't act like they do anymore. But the reality is here, when your constant problem is failure of delivery, missed promises, missed dates, is it really the IP that's the issue anymore? Or is it the studio? And that's why I'm saying I'm calling for a culture change over at 343. And you really need to take them away from Halo, because now they're harming something that's important to the Xbox ecosystem. And you've now lowered it effectively down the totem pole to, remember the good old days with Bungie? No one loves that energy. No one. I can't imagine loving that energy. It feels so pretentious. It counts out the competitors. I would love to be like, man, 343's carried the torch properly here. But I can't sit here and pretend they have. There's been missed calls, mismanagement for 4 games in the franchise now. And I can sit here and give them their roses for the support of Master Chief Collection. It's phenomenal what they did long term. But when we have a studio constantly talking about sticking the landing, it's time to actually fucking stick it. Okay? Which they haven't. So I'm out of patience personally, as it's clearly evident with this video. And hopefully this message gets through to someone. I know no one's going to listen to the, I put this in quotes, angry YouTuber. And I understand that. But I hope you'll listen to the community, who is equally well-reasoned and rightfully pissed and is echoing a lot of the same sentiments I am. I'm just here to signal boost and also convey some of my own personal emotion on the situation. So with that, that's all I got to say about this. I promise we'll be on the up and up tomorrow with our next video. That'll be a great time. But until then, take great care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.